Hey everybody, here is that CJ2A that I've been working on. This one was supposed to be a snowplow Jeep, just a quick fix-up and paint job, but he has decided to not put the snowplow on it, and instead brought me a winch, PTO winch, and I made a bumper for it, put the winch on, ran the drive shaft back to the PTO, and this one had the overdrive, so I put a PTO adapter on it, and here is the finished product. I just quick laid down some red urethane paint and cleaned up the underside a little bit. I was planning on it being a snowplow Jeep, but like I said, it's not. But I still put the fluid film under there for rust protection, and I'm not finishing the entire job. The customer is going to wire it himself and do a lot of little detail work, you know, headlights and things like that. But there it is. And that's finished up and ready to go. And here is an MB frame, World War II MB that I just sandblasted and have in red oxide primer for somebody else. And this is ready to go. And I am just beginning on the FC-150 cab, and that's in the main shop, and I'll get set up over there and show you where I'm at on that project. Okay, here's the FC cab, and I have the lift arms in there and have it lifted off the ground. When I received this, they had the body properly braced, and I believe they were going to put it on a rotisserie type of setup with that piece of tube sticking off there. But it works just good for me, lifting up with the lift, frees up the bottom. As you can see, those front corners are completely gone. The inner piece there is missing. The floors and the wheel arch here are in tough shape, and they always rust across the front there. The other side's pretty banged up. And you can see that floor is full of holes. But I am starting to take a few patterns off of here for things I don't have patterns of already, the floors and stuff like that. And there's a lot of areas. It looks like they just kind of went at it with a hammer or something. There's so many dents and dings in it. This whole area is really mangled up. Hard to see, but there's going to be a lot of banging dents out and shrinking the metal back into place. And then as we come to the back on the passenger side, we're missing quite a bit of the rear corner and the back of the cab. And again, I think you can pick that up. This is just completely banged up. It's in really rough shape. I don't know how so many dents could get in there from the inside, but most of these are facing out, so something was rattling around in there on the inside, which really dented that one up. And same thing on this side. It's just full of stretched metal everywhere. But I'm getting going on this one now, so I know the FCs aren't super popular, or I don't know, a lot of people aren't interested in FCs. But if anybody would like to see the process of this one going together, just shoot me a comment and let me know, and I can show you how I make the various pieces that will put this thing together. I'm still working on that snowblower Jeep, that CJ5. It's going slow because I've had so many customer projects coming through, but I'm still working on that, and I have the hydraulic cylinder on the bench, and I'll show you that next. Okay, here's a hydraulic cylinder that's going to pick up the snowplow, and it's just a single acting cylinder, and it's got one fluid port here, and it's got a vent up here, and it sits in the vehicle like this. This will be connected to the swinging frame here, and when you want to pick it up, the fluid will pick it up, and then gravity will just bring it back down to the ground. So the shaft was pitted real bad. Basically I just have it, so I'm going to cut this off and reuse the end. I have a new piece of chrome cylinder rod there. This was the old piston, just made up of many layers. I think you can see that okay. And I didn't want to reuse any of this stuff. There's your rod seal, your wiper, the O-ring that's right there that seals in the housing. So I just dimensioned all this stuff. I got all new pieces, and I have all the new pieces installed in the gland there. And I was able to source a new piston, and I've got a piston seal kit on there already, and that'll go in. I've just got to get working on that rod and get that to size. When I started doing the cylinder, I was very busy, and still kind of busy on customer projects, but I asked a couple guys on YouTube if they'd be interested in rebuilding the cylinder and making a video of it and showing you guys, and you know, I was hoping to introduce everybody to a couple new shops of some guys that I watch, but it didn't seem like anybody was interested. I got turned down by a few guys that I thought might be able to help me out, but turns out they were not really interested in talking with me, and pretty miserable to begin with as well. I guess it's, you know, I see guys doing stuff for other guys on there, and I thought YouTube was a good community of guys helping other guys out, but there's a lot of miserable folks out there, come to find out. But that's alright. I'll take you guys along and show you how I put it together, and we've got to turn this rod next. The piston will go on here. We've got to thread that, and I'll show you when that happens. We'll get the piston on. The cylinder is pretty clean, but I have a hone. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to hone that cylinder out. Have a little extension drill bit here. I can chuck that in the drill bit and get way down in there. Clean that out real nice. Like I say, it's not bad, but I just want to clean it out, give it a fresh surface for all the new piston seals here. And I'll show you how this comes together. And like I say, I've still got to cut this off, and when I finally get this to size, we'll weld that on. And not a big deal. It's not a terribly hard cylinder to do. I just thought you guys might be interested in seeing how a cylinder goes together. So that's coming, and I'll take you around and show you a few more things, how they're coming along. Okay, I'm over here on the transmission and teardown bench here, and what I have here are some Ross steering boxes, and these are the big guys. This was found in an M38A1, and it was found in CJ's later CJ5s and stuff with the V6. and I have to build a couple of them for a customer. So I've got some various parts and pieces. Here's one here. Haven't even opened this one up yet. Pitman arm's been cut off that one. I do have one good Pitman arm, and I have, luckily, he was able to source some new sector shafts. I don't know if anybody's aware of it, or I don't know if anybody's had a problem. But the sector shafts, this is the 15/16 size, not the 7/8 size like the rest of the CJs. This is 15/16, and there's a problem with these now. Doesn't matter where you buy them from. If you buy one of the new reproductions, they're poorly made, and they are breaking. They're snapping, and there's guys getting hurt, and there's vehicles getting damaged, and it's basically you know, very, very unsafe to buy a reproduction one of these parts right now. We're lucky to have some new old stock ones, and here's not a bad original. If I had to, I could save it, but it has a little bit of pitting from water damage. But if anybody out there is rebuilding one of these boxes, be very, very, very careful. I can't stress it enough about buying a sector shaft or a sector shaft kit. If you don't know where it comes from, or you didn't find it, you know, new old stock and its original wrapping, I highly recommend against using them. They're very unsafe. There's more than a few guys that have told me that they've while they're driving their Jeep, they're steering, and the sector shaft snaps, and there's either an accident or somebody gets hurt. So, you know, there's guys out there, there's big Jeep parts companies and stuff, and they're making this stuff, and they could care less if it's safe or not. I just want everybody to be aware. Like I say, if it's not an original part, or it's not new old stock, it's absolutely unsafe. I won't rebuild boxes any longer unless I know I'm using the original shaft, or unless we source new old stock. It's just not worth it. You know, your Jeep is probably restored, and you know, you've got a lot of money in it, and even if it's not, if you're just doing a steering box rebuild, you know, once you lose your steering, you got nothing. I mean, you could put the brakes on as fast as you can, but if you can't steer around an obstacle, you're going to have some problems. Again, be very, very careful. I'll show you how these boxes go together. I've got one out of three. I was able to come up with one good tube and worm. That's another original part. And the sector shaft, the new old stock one, will work perfect on that. I'm waiting for some more boxes to come in, and when they get here, I will show you how they go together. I know you've seen me do a early CJ2A one before, but these guys were loose in both of the boxes. I know that's a problem with a lot of people. I'll show you how I get those in permanently again, and I'll get everything cleaned up, and I'll meet you back over here when I have enough parts to put one together. And again, one more time about the sector shafts. If it's a reproduction, you're taking your life in your hands. They're terribly, terribly unsafe. Like I say, there's just nobody that really cares about the quality of stuff they're putting out there. So they're breaking, and it's not just one or two. It's quite a few people that have had trouble with them. Don't be the next person. Ask whoever you're getting it from where it came from. If they tell you it's not new old stock, don't buy it. Figure out another way. Go through 10 boxes if you have to, so you get a good sector. That's the only safe way to do it right now on this later box. They seem to be okay quality on the earlier boxes with the 7/8 size sector shaft, but on this 15/16 size, using the M38A1 and the CJ5 with the V6. Be very, very, very careful. Can't stress that enough. Okay, back outside again, jumping all over the place today. A few guys were asking how that trailer was coming that I'm building, and here it is. I got the suspension in it, got the wheels on it, and like I usually do with new steel, it's very hard to blast with the mill scale on it. You see this mill scale here still. It's much easier to blast once the entire trailer has some rust on it. If you were just to go at this with the sandblaster and try and get that mill scale off, it's a real pain. And it eats up a lot of sand and time and fuel, so it's basically finished except for the deck, and it's just about ready to sandblast. I've got some Dexter axles in here, and they have electric brakes on the wheels. I've got a slipper spring set up in there. I don't know if you can see that or not. There it is. And I've got some nice heavy 10-ply trailer tires on there. Quick lube wheel bearings. It should be okay. And I've got just a little bit of welding to do. I've got to finish up some of these corners here. But it's pretty much got a nice rusty patina on it, and it will be much easier to blast. And the cool weather is now with us, so I'll drag this in the back when I'm sandblasting and flip it over and blast it and get some decent paint on it. But there it is. I think you can see it. I've still got to put the jack on, but I'm going to do that after I sandblast it. And that's it. And the next trailer build I have in the works is going to be a car trailer with a tilt bed. I'll be working on that. I don't know if I'll get too much footage of it. I have it part way started for a customer, and he's doing a little bit of it, I'm doing a little bit of it, but I'll try and bring you as much as I can, and for sure I will show you when it's finished how the tilt mechanism works and how easy it is to get a car on there. And that's going to be the next build. And I've got one more after that, just a little utility trailer. And like I say, there didn't seem to be too much interest in the trailer build, but if anybody wants to see them, just again shoot me a comment and let me know, and I'll show you the other two trailer builds as they happen. Here's that Wisconsin off of the stump grinder, and a few of the various parts that I saved. A couple cylinders were good on there. So I've got to get working on that, but for the next little bit of time I'm going to have to be working on some firewood. You can see most of the bays are depleted, and I'm way behind this year, and just worked on a little bit today. I've got to get probably another 15 cords in, and the barn takes a lot and the house takes quite a bit of wood to heat, so this entire roofed in area here needs to be full of wood, top to bottom, front to back. Awful lot of wood needs to get in, and I will be working on that on nice days. And like I say, I've got this bay almost filled up today, and that's about all I can take. So I will bring you videos as I have time, and as always, thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, tell a friend, and I will catch you on the next video.